Good? Good. All right. Thanks for the introduction. My topic presentation is actually driving deep personalization with digital diabetes management. And full transparency at the beginning here, I noticed today as I'm looking through the pamphlet that I'm in the tech track. This isn't going to be a highly technical talk. It's more about our implementation and how we use Cloudbase and how we scaled it, or how we're going to scale it across the globe. So if you guys were expecting something similar to Couchbase in the cloud or high availability, unfortunately, you're going to be a little disappointed here. And then I also am going to work to leave time for questions. I've gone through this. I usually finish with about 8 to 10 minutes, so depending on how fast I go here, should be time for questions at the end. So without further ado, I'll get started. Who am I? I'm Bryan Memmelaar. I'm a software engineer by trade. I've worked across multiple different businesses, multiple different technologies. I've worked in high transaction businesses. I've worked in e-commerce businesses. So I've had a number of different opportunities to see different technologies and different technology stacks. And I've actually started on mobile before it was even called mobile. One of my first jobs was actually supporting salespeople out in the workforce. They had a laptop. They connected every night to our mainframe system over a modem, and we got to push them data down and went through a lot of the synchronization challenges that we're using Couchbase for now. So I actually have a decent amount of history with the technology in different ebbs and flows, and it all comes full circle at the end, seems to. Nowadays, I'm actually heading up the software development team for Becton Dickinson. And really what that means is I'm representing a team of hardworking, very competent and diligent engineers. They're building out the product that we're going to be talking about right now. And I'm just getting to represent them, hopefully well, and get to evangelize a little bit about what we're doing. I'm actually hoping that they are not watching the live stream right now, so I can kind of go through this and then don't have to go back to an office of what I've done wrong. So who is BD? I hope some of you guys have heard of us, and that's why you're interested in this talking track. I mean, BD, we're a Fortune 500 company. We are a global company. We're reaching the corners of the world. We have locations in more than 50 countries with more than 40,000 associates. We're focused on improving efficiency in healthcare, so we understand and serve the needs of our customers. Our customers are healthcare institutions, life science, clinical labs, pharmaceutical, bio, and also at the end of the day, it's about the patient. So that's who we're really targeting. We've had a pretty long history. BD's been around for a while. It's part of the fabric of the healthcare industry since 1897. So we've been offering medical supplies and services, devices, laboratory equipment, and diagnostic technologies. And now, it actually came up in the keynote, like innovate, push. We're saying the same thing within BD. It's the new BD. And that's actually why I'm here and why we've started up this business unit of digital health. So we're continually innovating practices across the healthcare continuum. We're advancing cellular research capabilities and therapies, point-of-care diagnostics, medication management, infection prevention, and patient safety. So as you can see, there's a decent amount going on at BD. So what about digital health? This is actually the business unit that I belong to. Digital health was founded relatively recently, in 2016. We were founded to be a team of individuals with digital DNA, is the quote. And we're on a mission to create unique and personalized digital care experiences. We want to empower the patient and to take control of their health and improve their outcome. So where we're at with digital health right now is we're in a high growth mode of the business. We're building a business, we're building a team, we're building processes, and we're continually improving ourselves. We're actually based in Boston, and this time of year it's actually not a bad place to be. So walking from the train station to the office is a pretty nice walk. 8 months out of the year I can't say that, but we're going to the good time. And we're hiring right now and building a team of startup veterans and software engineers. So the goal of the digital health business unit is really to bring in top talent to transform a business and transform, to be more software focused. So why are we bringing in all these people? Why are we building a business? Why is it different? We're working to release consumer-facing software into the ecosystem. Our first consumer app I'm actually going to talk about today. It's going to be in a couple slides, so I'll get there. But what we're looking to do is push the limits of technology. And that's why our partners, we choose carefully. We want to make sure that we can say that we're being innovative. We want to say that we're close to the bleeding edge, but we're also using the right technology choices to do the job that we're trying to do here. And one last thing is, for digital health, we pride ourselves on being a startup business within a big company. So it's a weird tightrope to walk, but that's the goal of digital health. All right, so a lot of my presentation and a lot about our first app is behavioral change. And I thought that it would be good to start with a quote from someone who actually knows what they're talking about with behavioral change. So as you guys can read on the screen, personalization is a chance to differentiate at a human scale, to use behavior as the most important cue about what people want and, more importantly, what they need. So I thought that this was a great quote that describes our product. We're building our system, and it's being designed to take cues from user behavior, and it's triggering on what they want and what they need. And I'll get into that as we get deeper into the technology. But from a high-level technical perspective, we're building a highly responsive mobile system that handles all the changing aspects of a user's input and output, and hopefully changes and handles it seamlessly within the system. All right, so why are you guys different? There's a lot of diabetes apps right now out in the marketplace. What is BD doing differently? You know, how are you going to succeed, kind of thing. So we're taking a different approach than what's in the marketplace right now. We're not looking to just capture data, but we're really looking to offer an experience to the user. We believe that we need to focus on consumer empowerment, and we also believe to be successful in a digital health experience, we need to put the users at the center and support their unmet needs. So it's not just about capturing the data and their logging and showing analytics, though that's all important and that's in our app. It's all about trying to help them get to that decision that they don't even know they want to be at. And I mirror this a little bit to Amazon and how they tell you what you want, even though you don't necessarily know you want it, and they end up getting the sale. So, all right, so now that I've gone through the BD mission a little bit and kind of why digital health was formed, I am going to go a little bit more into the platform and then the application that we're building out. And just to let everyone know, marketing tells me that this is our architecture. So I like the way it looks, so I go with it. But it's more of a architecture slide. And we're going to go into some deeper levels here. But I think it kind of points out some of the key things that we're doing. So it's a really good slide. What I want you guys to take away from this is that we have a platform at the very base. We're actually Azure hosted. And some of the talks that have been previous has really drawn up excitement for me, knowing the investment that Couchbase is putting in this. But our infrastructure, we're big into privacy, obviously, quality, security. We have several regulation teams and hosting teams to make sure that we're globally scalable, and that's a big part of our app. The other thing to take away from this is we know that we can't go it alone. So sometimes big companies think, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do everything ourselves, and that's not the approach that we're taking in digital health. Like we're all about integrating. We have third-party devices, we have third-party data sources. We're really trying to pick the right tool to make sure that we can support our customer. In addition, we are integrating with BD homegrown devices. They are trusted over the course of tens of years, and we're integrating with those smart devices. And then also we have a team of data scientists that are building out algorithms that are really personalizing the application that we have. And I'm going to give a demo in a couple minutes, and I hope you guys will start to see the personalization that I'm talking about. We're building client experiences on top of a common platform. So the way that we think about this in digital health is the platform comes first. Scalability needs to be there, and then we'll build out experiences on top of it. So the first experience is the experience that I talked to you about today, but then there's other experiences in the roadmap already coming. So we try to keep those split. And also a big part of our app is the content and our content need, and part of our decision actually to go with Couchbase was the ability to scale that content globally. So that's one of the highlights for Couchbase, and we get into that in some future slides. So I've kind of led up to a bunch of things, and now it's actually of what is your application? What are you guys doing? Our first client experience to the market is BD Bright. You can read the taglines. You're always on personal diabetes companion. So the freedom to be a person with diabetes and not just a patient with diabetes. When we talk about Bright internally and within the company, we talk about what are the benefits of Bright. So like I already mentioned, it's always on, it's in your hand, it's on your device. It's personal and relevant content to you. So based on who you are, based on your profile, is going to determine what content you see. It's tailored to you. So based on the location in your disease journey is what content you will also see. So we're not going to show you type 2 diabetic information if you're a type 1, for instance, at the very highest level. The content and experiences address both an emotional and a functional need. And it's adaptive to your goals. So when you use our app, you set up goals, and we adapt the programs, and we adapt the content to the goals that you set up. And lastly, it's also designed to support patient self-management. So before I go on and give more detail about Bright, I thought I'd just add a little bit more context here in my notes. This is an exciting project to start with. We're filling an unmet need for the marketplace. And I said it's a crowded marketplace. Some of you guys are in crowded marketplaces, and you always wonder how to really set yourself apart. This is filling an unmet need. It's bringing value to a large group of people. It's integrating with BD devices that are known across the world and are trusted. And it's hopefully answering questions to patients and to users that need them in the time they need them. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, if I wake up and wondering, why is my blood sugar out of whack? Hopefully we can deliver that answer, and they don't have to go out and Google it, or they don't have to log and hopefully see trends. So that's the goal. So one more slide on Bright's mission. We're designing Bright to simplify the lives of patients with diabetes by minimizing the complications and barriers associated with the disease management. So another tagline that we use is, I need to feel in control to be in control. And what does feeling in control mean? It means that I need personal and targeted content. You guys are starting to hear the same thing from me. I need to cope with my stress. I need to feel supported. I need to feel confident. I need to feel hope. I need to feel motivated. And what do I really need to be in control? I need a way to track my diet. I need a way to be more active. I need help managing my care plan. I need to be able to track how I'm doing against my goals. I need to know what to do. I'm newly diagnosed. I have no idea what this means. And I also need to have a trusted relationship with my care team. So if we're doing our job right, this is what we're hoping from a technical perspective that we can offer to diabetics through Bright. So next on the presentation here is a demo. What I'm demoing to you is actually from a non-prod environment. So somewhere in that demo, you are going to see a little bit of junk content. I apologize for that. But if you guys would like, you can actually go to the App Store right now and download Bright. And all the features that I'm going to show in this demo are publicly available right now. And I'll try to walk through as the movie's going, though my timing is pretty bad. So, and I was going to say, too, being a tech guy for so long, I know that I need to record the demo because I've been a tech guy for so long and demos never go well, and I still can't figure out how to start the thing. So I think we are good to go. Sorry, it's not in full page mode, but we'll get through. So first, you're going to see our terms and service. This is part of being BD. It's pretty long. We're still working to shrink it down, but after you get through, We're actually going to capture some basic information, so your name, your gender, your diabetes type, your treatment plan, your last A1C, activity, and diet. And the reason that we're capturing this, and what I hope you guys see in the demo, is that we have a rule engine and a profiling engine behind all this. And after we capture these 6 seemingly small pieces of information, we're going to tailor the content to you. And as you can see here, I think I'm gonna mark no special diet, and we get into the app. So on the home page, you'll see there's a greeting, and then there's an area where we give tips, and then an area where we give content. And I'm gonna dive into the content first. So this is BD curated content. We offer activity, lifestyle, and recipes right now. We also offer the ability to save content. So as you're going through, oh, I really like that gluten-free mac and cheese. I really want to save that. Try that again. And then you can also obviously call back your saved recipes as you go. Another feature in the app as far as logging goes is just 3 questions, basic, about logging your day. So how much activity, how many carbs, and what's your mood? We also do ask you to log your blood glucose. This helps us all in tuning the engine and making content more specific to you. So that's really what we're going after. And then what you're seeing here is that we also offer tips. So in this case, this is our starter tip. Everyone gets this, but we've, based on our data analytics, know that a lot of people have problems with fast food. So we offer deep linked content about how to eat healthier. So that's what this one is. And what you're going to see afterward is we always ask you, like, was that helpful? And based on your answers, again, our engines are firing in the background and tuning and constantly tuning to figure out what you're interested in. And you'll see that the queue refreshes, and hopefully we've offered you yet a more tuned experience to what you're looking for. So the asking for ratings, the asking for workflow, what we're trying to get at here is just building a larger persona and a larger profile of the user so that we really can target the right content to the user. I think what I'm showing here, is the recipe search functionality, and I'm going to go into this and why Couchbase provided this, but this was out of the box, and that's one of the benefits, but we allow you to search for content in our app and actually retrieve it at your fingertips. So if you can't remember, forgot to save it, you can get it back pretty easily. And then, as always, asking for feedback. Then the last part of this that I wanted to demo on this screen was the NLP and chatbot capability. So who are you? Well, we give a standard response, but also, can I drink beer? Like I need to know. And we actually lead you into a workflow. So for me, the answer is always yes, but for some people, they want a healthier choice. And we're going to give them an answer for what that healthier choice would be. So again, it's constantly tuning content around the user. What I'm going to show here next is actually how your profile changes affect the content in the application. And I want you guys to see how quick this is going too. I mean, this is important from a user perspective. Like, we're not going back and we're saying, oh yeah, 20 minutes later, like I have an alcohol test tip right now, and that's because I said I like to drink beer. But we're trying to make real-time impact on the user and generate their recipes if they say that they're a vegetarian. In this case, I'm logging a BG value that's higher than the norm. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get a tip that says, hey, I noticed this is out of whack. Like, what happened? Let's talk about it. And as they go into the workflow, we actually ask them, like, did you have a bad dinner? Did you have a snack? What caused your BG to be out of whack? And allow them to get to the right content they need at the right time. So hopefully what you can see from the demo is that we're a pretty large content app, and we're really trying to target that content to the people that need to see it. And then last piece here was just our data viz and our analytics. So there we go. Right back to the slideshow. Okay. So before I move on from the demo, I just want to admit, again, in transparency, I mean, we're early on, but what I'm hoping that people see from the demo and see from the app right now is the direction that we're heading and the platform that we're building. See the rule processing that's happening in the background, the machine learning and the targeted content that's coming out, and see the natural language processing and how we're looking to answer questions. We have a long way to go, but we firmly believe we're on an exciting path and we're on the right path. So in my discussion, I thought it would be interesting for some of the technical people to see the evolution of where we've come. So about a year ago, most of you probably wouldn't know because we didn't market this very well, but we actually had an app out in the market called Leah. And Leah was our fast prototyping iteration platform. So it allowed us to get quick market feedback. I mean, you hear a lot of people talk about lean development practice. I mean, we were rapidly iterating. We were only targeting a couple thousand users. We had specific use cases that we wanted to implement. We could go through a lighter quality system since we are a non-regulated product at this point. And we were trying to create a simple, intuitive, adaptive agent so that we could learn. And that was a lot of good learning in the early days. And then where we've progressed actually is to what we refer to internally as IDM, Integrated Diabetes Management Application. So an end-to-end disease management application. Hundreds of thousands of users. We're in 6-week releases right now. Value to many stakeholders, both internally and externally. I mean, we're always focused on the consumer, but there's obviously internal stakeholders within BD that can find value out of what we're doing. We're operating under a full quality system, which again is important when we went to make the Couchbase choice, and I'll get into that a little bit more. We have connected devices that we now have to our application. And we're focused on diabetes management and answering medical questions and empowerment and persona modeling. So that's a lot of slides of non-technical stuff in the technical track, but that's why I warned you guys up front. So now we're getting a little bit more on the technical side here. So to some of you, this may look familiar. My colleague Dylan Wilson was actually here in the past, and I'm going to be honest, I ripped this slide right off. So we've added onto it a little bit, but the technology and the platform and the base has been going for a couple of years now. And as you guys can see, Couchbase is right in the middle. So the Couchbase cluster, the sync gateway, we have third-party authentication. And as I've mentioned to you, Briight is actually just our first client experience. We hope to scale this out to many other experiences. So along with the core of the app, we've also, I've talked about, we have a rule engine that works real time and scheduled. We have a chat bot that we add on to this to answer some of the real-time questions. We have a Fire server in the background, which I'll get into a little bit more as we go. And we also have third-party integrations, BGM, CGM data. We're building out secondary applications, and we're also going to build out a portal. All right, so Briight version 1. I thought this one would be good to include because it's important, I think, for everyone to talk about like where you might not quite have gotten it right. And the next couple of slides really do lead into Couchbase more specifically and why we went that direction. And Briight version 1, I'm not talking about a long time ago. I'm talking about 6 months ago when we launched out to the market. We didn't quite get it right, and we had some learning to do there. So, and I figured I'd put that up, and it's a good story of why we went to Couchbase. So with our version 1, as you can see, we had a mobile client. It was an online experience, and we had a microservice architecture. And in our microservice architecture, each microservice ended up having its own data store. To the industry, I mean, this is on trend. This is popular right now. And what we were finding is that we were actually a pretty chatty app. And for a mobile device, being chatty is not the best thing. So, and then also with the multiple data stores, we were finding that we were having integrity issues. So a lot of the HTTP calls that we were issuing were fire and forget. And we were running into problems where our rule engine might have fired incorrectly based on insufficient data. So with those problems, we actually also ended up seeing that our microservices ended up needing to talk to each other too much, just to make sure that they were all working off the same data. So what we decided is we needed to iterate, we needed to learn, and we needed to pivot. And luckily, we had the time and the talent to be able to do that. So this is Briight version 2, as it exists right now, high-level architecture with Couchbase. And I will tell you, and it's the next slide, or 2 slides from now, is the benefits of Couchbase, but Couchbase hit me up at the absolute right time. And the biggest draw was Sync Gateway. And that's, that really helped to solve our biggest problem, which was not only offline, but HTTP, fire and forget, the issues that we had there, transaction management. So as you can see in our new architecture, we actually have Couchbase Mobile, Couchbase Lite on the mobile application. That syncs with the Couchbase server cluster. We actually call it our profiling service that sits inside. And that is now our single document store. And I'll get into why and why we went this way, but our microservice architecture still stays intact, though the microservices are working off of the document that we send to the services, and that allows them to be stateless, and it also allows us to scale them horizontally as we go. So a big part of what I just said there is that we moved to a single document per user. So instead of having multiple databases across the microservices, we have a Couchbase data store, NoSQL, and a single document. And this actually allowed us to have our rule engine operate in near real time, because what we would do is load up, or what we do is load up that user's document in memory and execute the rules against it, and able to generate insights near real time. Also, this single document allowed us to implement our FHIR data model, which I actually have more on in the next slide, so I'm gonna keep that for right now. But Couchbase offered us a way to do encrypted storage, which for us going more into the clinical realm is very important to be HIPAA compliant, and then GDPR. You guys saw in one of the last sessions that GDPR support is coming. And it gave us a path for data migration and backward compatibility. So from our perspective, there were a lot of wins and not too many trade-offs to implement this new high-level architecture. So just to make sure I didn't miss any, because I've been talking through my notes and also talking through the screen, single persistent store, faster processing of events, guaranteed delivery, a means to abstract our app from third party. Oh, and then also, because I just sat through the session last, we also implemented Kubernetes for our deployment. So a lot of good technical uplifts in Briight version 2. I wanted to talk quickly about our FHIR data model. And this, again, you guys may remember from past Couchbase talks, but this fit in, the Couchbase data store fit in perfectly with our FHIR data model. For those of you who don't know, FHIR is a standard for exchanging healthcare data electronically. As I mentioned to you, I've been in a number of different businesses. I've been focused on healthcare for a while. And I've gone through the HL7 mess. And to have FHIR now with the HL7 and the standards, it's really helped out. And it also helps us out, again, for our clinical roadmap to integrate with EMRs and to go into healthcare customers. So having Couchbase be able to support us in doing that offered interoperability out of the box, and also allowed us to work with a strong foundation of web standards. So JSON data format, REST APIs. I think the part of the quote I like most up on this slide is it aims to simplify implementation without sacrificing information integrity. All right, I'm getting there. So why did Couchbase ask me here? This is my sales pitch, I guess, for Couchbase, but I wouldn't say it unless I could attest to it. Sorry, the slide didn't go. I've lived through a number of different technologies. I've lived through Oracle, MS SQL, MySQL, mainframe, AS400, Mongo, Cassandra. I mean, you name it, I've been there. I don't know what that says about me, but I've seen a lot of different technologies. I've built several different products. I've used a lot of different technologies. And honestly, these benefits of using Couchbase, even in the last 6 months, we're seeing almost immediately. And that's where You have to give credit where credit's due. So no single point of failure. Combination of data persistence technology and caching technology. I don't know if you guys remember the last decade, but you have your, I won't say a brand, you have your database data persistence layer, and then you have your caching tier because your data persistence layer just isn't fast enough to serve up content. So we've been able to remove that so far with Couchbase, and it's scaled along with us. Supporting the offline capability, like I mentioned, there's huge business value, especially for a mobile application. And we want to be online all the time, or not online, but available all the time to our users, giving answers back. So having that offline capability. Supporting our native JSON Fire data model. I mean, that fit right into Couchbase NoSQL Store. It took the synchronization challenge and abstracted it from us. It took away the hard challenge of guaranteed HTTP delivery. It contributed to lowering our operating costs. Now, there was a question in one of the biz talks about how much did it lower. I'm not going to get into that either, but there's a good and a bad to a cloud. The good is it's infinitely scalable. The bad that it's infinitely scalable, and you pay for that scalability. So Couchbase helped us in lowering that and keeping that under control. It supports our product roadmap as we continue to implement features. You saw a recipe search there. That was out of the box with Couchbase, being able to search the content. It allows our analysts to continue to utilize SQL syntax. That's a big thing. We have several data scientists. They know SQL. It was easy to kind of plug that in. And it supports high availability and global replication. I didn't really talk about it much, but on our short-term roadmap is going outside the US. So we needed a product that could move with us and a partner that could move with us. It supports built-in auditing, role-based access control, and encrypted communication. And again, we're a clinical app. We're going to get under more scrutiny with HIPAA and GDPR. We need some of these things to be baked in. We don't want to be building all this. So this is my last slide, my shameless plug, just because we are in high growth mode. So we are hiring. I figured if this was going out live stream and was going to be recorded, I might as well at least throw it in. We have teams in Boston and Raleigh. We're a startup-like environment, a number of open positions, new tech, challenging problems, which I hope you got a little bit of in this talk. So if you guys are interested, please visit the career page. It's the new BD, so not the old company, but new innovation. That's it. So thank you guys for giving me some of your time and attention. I appreciate it. And I guess we have a couple minutes for questions.
Yeah, if there's any questions, I have them.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks very much for attending this and great presentation. I appreciate it. Question is about offline. So you mentioned, I'd like to have an understanding of what's your customer's offline experience.
Yeah.
And also, if you could talk about whether your application support is progressive app, essentially.
Okay, so the offline experience, I'll go into that first. So the content that we deliver, like those customized articles and the tips and the insights that we have in the application, the data logging, the visual data viz, that's all offline. So if you want access to your saved content, if you want a recipe, we'll be able to give you that in an online or offline fashion. The content like our NLP engine, like where you ask a specific question and you get an answer, that piece is online only. So that's the transactional part of the system. And I missed your second part, sorry, on the progressive.
Right. I mean, there's this whole trend of progressive apps where basically the application is able to function and be able to respond even when your entire backend database and network is down.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand whether your application currently how you deal with that and how Couchbase help you in dealing with that.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you. So yes, our application is offline. How we deal with that is we batch up the transactions that happen. So if you're logging your day or your blood glucose, we batch that up, and then when the back end comes back, we sync. And what you might miss from that is some of the rule processing, because that happens on the back end, but you don't lose data. It batches it up and processes once online becomes available. Yes, we store locally. Yep.
The question is, how do you envision this, the app to deal with, upcoming robotic, on behalf of customer, the robotic is initiating some request. How you handle that in future?
So are you talking like integrating with like Google and Alexa and things along those lines?
Yes, as well as other disease management, how this can be transformed to use for other disease management for consumers.
Yeah, so that's why we really focus on building out the platform. I mean, we're building APIs and we're building extensions and we're building add-ons because we know that we're not the only game in town. And it's not in our near-term roadmap, but what we've talked about is actually building on skills for Alexa and building on additions for Google's AI and being able to use our curated content and our clinical experience, but actually offering it through their platform. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you very much, Bryan.
All right.
It's always a pleasure to have one of our clients come up and really appreciate your kind words for us. I wanted to leave you with a small gift
Thank
in
you.
gratitude of your talk today. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice hand of applause for Bryan.